Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show. Got a special treat. A house built in 1970. Normally that means it's ugly. This house is spectacular. It's beautiful. Come check it out. Look around, guys. This looks like something from France or Italy. It's certainly something European, okay? Why do we have the incredible proportions, the incredible details? Typically, Corinthian columns are a mess, right? Typically, entryways aren't spectacular, right? And so we've got glass and steel, cut stone, all these beautiful things. The truth is that this house was built in the 70s by a wealthy oil guy. It was a combination of a number of different historic houses and historic details brought together. There's amazing rooms inside. There's great architectural detail. The scale of this thing, the size of these rooms is huge. I mean, look at this entry portico, right? It's just unbelievable. So come inside. It's a special treat. It's awesome. It's just crazy in here. The quality of materials are incredible. Look at the marble floors. Look at the inlaid marble floors, right? Look at the quality of the material, the marble stairs, the stone columns. Look at the way this marble is coped into the stone right there. I mean, the way it's carved and cut and everything else. I mean, incredible craftsmanship, incredible detail, and then the scale of this thing. This room, this vaulted space is 20 feet tall, 25 feet tall, with this beautiful little light bringing down the top. I mean, I really feel like I'm in a different country. They've got incredible marble detailing all throughout this house. There's a collection of period rooms here that were taken from the Dodge. There was an auction up in Michigan for this Dodge mansion, and they basically crated up that house and then brought it here. So we're gonna look at this French room, we're gonna look at this classical room, the moldings, all these other details are just awesome. Okay, so this is a Georgian room, right? We've got this beautiful paneled wainscot. It's a paneled room, and then look at that cornice, right? With those the bracketed modillions that come out. There's egg and dart moldings, there's dentils, there's bead and reel. Look at the bookcase with the ionic columns. So this is a really wonderful Georgian room. I mean, for us to create this room is, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and yet they were able to buy it as salvage. And one of the tricks of finding great architectural millwork is buying salvage. And so this was done on, level 25, right, of 10. And so incredible details, beautiful moldings, beautiful millwork, and this is just the start. One of the great things about this house, and one of the things that makes it so spectacular, is the scale of everything, right? That we've got these really tall ceilings, these really tall rooms, beautiful moldings, great carvings, great architectural details, this classicism that's really hard to do right. And so when you see it done well, when you see it done beautifully, it really is magical. This type of door hardware is called an espanglinette, okay? Now there's two types of hardware that go on the outside of a door, kind of in a French system like this. There's Cremone bolts, right? Cremone bolts are the things you turn the handle and it goes up and down. And a espanglinette actually has hooks. You can see at the top there. And the hooks actually curl in. And so when those hooks curl in, it happens because you are actually turning this hardware right here, and then this hardware fits over top of this little catch and locks in place. And so it's a very secure type of hardware. Sometimes you even see the espanglinette almost on the back of delivery trucks, right? Where they pick the bar up and they pull that thing over. That's kind of what's happening. This is the French level of that, and look at that carving in detail. This is P.E. Guerin hardware. It is incredibly detailed. Once it comes out of the forge, they hand cut these flowers and hand cut these reeds and stuff in there. Incredibly well detailed, very expensive, incredible stuff, all from the 20s. Another magical thing about this house is these outdoor sitting areas, which I don't even know if that's what you would call this, right? This is, I feel like I'm in Italy, or I feel like I'm in another country, but this open air pavilion with these beautiful Corinthian columns that go outside, the scale of it, it's magical, it's beautiful. It really transports you, makes you feel like you're in another time, in another place. The quality of the materials too. I mean, look, we're standing on these massive marble floors with marble slabs, cut stone columns, beautiful balustrades around the outside. really, really wonderful house. So despite the incredibly beautiful space, it does need maintenance, it does need repair, and that's what we're doing here. That's what we'll be doing on this job. We're fixing the roof right now. We're gonna redo some bathrooms. We're gonna add on a big conservatory in the back, do some landscaping. It's really gonna be a fun project, but the double volume that we get in here is really pretty awesome. And look how careful they were about inserting the glass inside these columns, that this glass is actually inserted into the columns. And in fact, there's a couple of these pieces of insulated glass, which I hate, which have failed, but we're not sure how we're going to get this piece of glass out because it's cut right into the stone. But that's how careful they were when they were building this thing. That's the attention to detail. It wasn't just, caulk in place. It was actually cutting in, making this thing so it was, last 100 years. Now I'm going to show you the room that you really will think you're in Europe.
A search was started to find the perfect wood. That search ended in Greece. 900 Greek barns were torn down and the woods matched for grain and quality. Then they were shipped to France, where the finest woodworkers carved and shaped them. And then they came to Rose Terrace and installed them. The effect is glorious.
Cue the French Louis XV music, because this is, something that's incredible. One, it's all oak, okay? And to see the carvings and the other detail in here shows you the level of detail and how sophisticated this is. This is truly something that would be, in the Louis XV parlor in France, but all this is hand carved. This isn't applied, okay? This isn't compo moldings applied over top of this. This is actually carved into place. And so it's an incredibly beautiful. I don't know of another room like this in Texas, right? And so it's really wonderful taken out of the Dodge Mansion. Look at the organization of the room, that this chair rail, that pedestal height can be at 36 inches because we've got such a tall volume in here. And I talked to you about, the chair rail height and everything else. This is actually at around 3 foot, but it's okay because my ceilings are 20 feet tall, right? So the scale and proportion changes. And look how the French organized the room. There's not really applied columns like we saw in that Georgian room. It's an implied column. So you've got the pedestal, an implied column, and then this entablature that wraps around the top. It's a bracketed entablature. That's why we have those brackets there. But this is a magical room and just speaks to the quality of this house. One of the things I love about this house is the authenticity of the architectural millwork, right? We've got French moldings here that are actually grooved on the backside, right? I've shown you those profiles. You can kind of see the profile here and how it's kind of notched out on the backside, the shape of these panel molds. But this kind of detail where the mutton bar and how it ties into the other things around is typically the way the French did it. Notice these doors are hand pegged. So we've got a mortise and tenon joinery that's pegged. And so what's going to happen on a typical French door is that the stiles and rails are going to be thinner typically. And then this mutton bar tends to grow, tends to be a little bit thicker. And notice it's not a big divided light, that you have these kind of open pieces of glass, still rectangular in form, right? This upper rectangular classical form, but it's not as divided light maybe as you would see in an English house, right? And so the French really are copying what Louis XIV did at Versailles, where he had windows like this and doors like this, and this is how they were broken up. Glass at that time was incredibly expensive, so it was a showing off of their wealth the way they would do that. I'll show you another thing here, because I've worked on this house for a long time, and one of the things we fixed was actually that door right there that was leaking on the outside. And the reason it was leaking is because the drip edge that you'll see on the outside here was not working properly. This is where I really learned that the power of the drip edge and began to look out on historic buildings to realize that there was an important piece to make sure that these doors work properly. Now look, that drip edge sticks out from the edge of that door probably 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches, okay? And it's that throw, okay, that keeps the water from coming on the inside. In fact, the drip edge on that door, that water was leaking. It would come into the room 3-4 feet. By the time we added that drip edge, it stopped leaking. So power of the drip edge, power of an old way of building that really does make a big difference and really can change the performance of the door. So if you want to create an authentic stair, right, here's your example. Now, Notice that this wouldn't pass code. The 4-inch ball is going to fit through, maybe an 8-inch ball is going to fit through here. This is something where I tell clients you have to fight to get by code, because sometimes code, for safety reasons, right? I understand why it's doing it, but it's not the best decision for the house. This is a classical, traditional, French stair, very open. The scrolling volute is what this is called, because this is a volute pattern, but it scrolls as it keeps going. Look at the marble treads, look at the marble brackets, carved marble brackets, look at the turning, right? This solid piece of marble turning, right? Incredible house. And I can't wait to continue to fix it up, because when it was built, the quality of it was unbelievable. All the floors are concrete, right? And we'll go underneath this house and look at the quality. It's a chiller system with an HVAC system that we're going to upgrade. It's low voltage lighting. I mean, this house was the bomb when it was built in '75, but it's timeless. It looks like it's been here for 100 years, maybe even 200 years. So spectacular house. Wanted to show it to you. Going to be great, seeing this thing evolve. But I hope you see that it's this quality of the materials, it's the scale, the proportion, the classical architecture that's so well done here that makes you feel like you're in a museum, make you feel like you're in a very special place, because everything is done so well, executed so well, designed so well, built so well, makes an incredible house. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The Patreon thing is live and it's going. Passion for Craft, the podcast that we're doing. There's a bunch of stuff. If you're on Patreon at the journeyman level, I am dropping every Tuesday documents and details that help you build better, that help you build up your library. So if you want to get on and join that, it's a great outlet. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.